Hello everyone. Hello everyone. I'm just trying to start this series where I just come online and help students with some math problems. As a tutor, I get to see some topics that tend to stump students pretty frequently. And so today I'm just going to talk about quadratic equations and focus on factoring quadratic expressions and equations. Factoring quadratic expressions. Start with factoring quadratic expressions. And I'm going to work on expressions where you have the quadratic term have a coefficient of 1, and also expressions where the quadratic term has a coefficient that is greater than 1. Okay, so let's start off with the simple quadratic expressions. So generally, a quadratic expression is notated as ax squared plus bx plus c. And so this is your function, ax squared plus bx plus c. Now, when you are trying to factor a quadratic expression, here are a few things you want to pay attention to. You want to pay attention to AC, and you want to pay attention to B as well. Now, why are these important? We want to always remember that when we're trying to factor a quadratic expression, we're looking for the coefficient of the quadratic term, which is the number before x squared, and the constant term. We're going to multiply them together, and then we need to find factors of this product that give you a sum of b. So let's go ahead and take a look at a few examples. So I'm going to start off with x squared plus 3x plus 2. So what this means to us is we're going to find the coefficient of the quadratic term, and generally in math, especially in algebra, whenever you see a variable and there is no value before the variable, you can always assume that that value is 1. So here a is equal to 1 and c is equal to 2. So we are going to now multiply this together, so we get AC equal to 2. Now we want to find the factors of 2 that give us a sum of 3. So this is going to be 1 and 2. Now what we're going to do here is, because the coefficient of the quadratic term is 1, once we get to this point, we'll go ahead and open up our parentheses right here. And you're going to start with the variable. So this is going to be x here. This is going to be x right here. And then we're going to go ahead and include the factors of AC that give you a sum that equal B. And here is 1 and 2, so that is going to be plus 1 and plus 2. So what we're saying here is that x plus 1 multiplied by x plus 2 is going to give us x squared plus 3x plus 2. Now let's try another example. What if the problem we had here was x squared minus 7x plus 10? So we're going to do exactly the same thing we did earlier. So our a is equal to 1, and then our c equal to 10. Now our b is equal to negative 7. So what we're going to do here is find the product of AC, which is equal to 10, and we need to find two factors of 10 that give us a sum of negative 7. Now, when you have this type of questions, when you have AC as a positive value and B as a negative value, it simply tells you that both factors of AC will be negative values. So what I'm going to look for is most likely our set of factors will be 1 and 10 and 2 and 5. So here we can see that this can get you to 7. So we're going to put a negative before each of the values. And so let's open up our parentheses. And then we're going to have our x written in the beginning of each parenthesis. And then we have minus 2 minus 5. So that is how you factor this. Now let's try another example. I want to show you a few different examples so that this makes a lot of sense. So we have x squared minus 4x minus 12. Okay, so we're going to look at same thing we're going to do. We always do the same things. So a is equal to 1 and c equal to negative 12. So now what we're looking for are the factors of AC. So AC equal to negative 12. So now we're going to look for the factors of negative 12 that give us a sum of negative 4. So we're going to, if we just look at this, we can see that 6 and 2 somehow give us 4 in one way or the other. But because we have a negative 4, that means that the digit that is larger will have the negative sign. So that is right here, negative 6. So what does that mean to us? We're going to open up our parentheses. Open up our parentheses. And then we have our x right here and our x right here. And all we're going to do is we're going to replace the factors in the parentheses. It doesn't matter where you put the numbers, doesn't really matter. So I'm going to say x minus 6 and then x plus 2. So this is how you go about solving quadratic expressions. So let's say factoring quadratic expressions where the coefficient of the quadratic term is 1. Now we're going to go ahead and try an instance where the coefficient is not 1. So let's go ahead and write an example here. Let's go with 2x squared. I'm going to put here plus 6 over here. And I'm going to have here plus 7x. Okay, so we're going to do similar things. Here our a is equal to 2, and then our c equal to 6. Now, what are we going to do? We're going to find AC. AC is equal to 12, and then our b equal to 7. So we need to find the factors of 12 that give you a sum of 7. And just by our familiarity with number 12, we know that 3 multiplied by 4 will give you 12, and 3 plus 4 will give you 7. So now what do we do here? In the previous examples, we would have just gone ahead and opened up parentheses, but in this case, we will not do such thing. What we will do here is we're going to look at the greatest common factor method of factoring here. So we're going to do some factoring by grouping, and then we'll use the greatest common factor to get to our answer. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to replace 7x with 4x and 3x. So it's going to be 4x plus 3x. So now we're going to rewrite this whole expression by replacing the middle term with the sum of its factors. So we're going to have 2x squared plus 4x plus 3x plus 6. And now we're going to factor by grouping simply by putting parentheses around our we'll take the first two, put parentheses around them. We're going to create binomials and put parentheses around them. And once we're done with that, we're going to factor each of the binomials. So now the next thing we're going to do is factor this right here. So we have 2x squared and 4x. The greatest common factor of this will be 2x. And now we're going to divide each of these terms by 2x, and we're going to have x plus 2. Now we have another expression here, another binomial here. So this is 3x and 6. The greatest common factor of this is going to be plus 3, and then we have x plus 2. Now this is very important. What we're going to show here is extremely important. For you to know that your factoring has been done correctly, the values in the parentheses have to be exactly the same. Now we're going to go ahead and grab the greatest common factor of each of these sets of expressions. The greatest common factor is x plus 2. And then we're going to now combine the factors of each of the greatest common factor. So the factor of this right here is 2x, and the factor right here is plus 3. So the factors of 2x squared plus 7x plus 6 is going to be x plus 2 multiplied, or x plus 2 and 2x plus 3. What that means to us is that x plus 2 multiplied by 2x plus 3 is going to give you 2x squared plus 7x plus 6. Now let's try one more example here. Let's go with 3x squared, and then we're going to go to minus 10x minus 8. Okay, so now we're going to do similar things. We identify our A, C, and B. So here A is equal to 3, C equal to negative 8. So AC equal to negative 24. Our B is negative 10. So we need to figure out the factors of negative 24 that give us a sum of negative 10. I'm going to just let you know that that will be 12 and 2. So we have 12 and 2 here, but because we want a sum that is negative, we're going to put our negative sign in front of 12. So now we're going to rewrite negative 10x as, let me put a rectangle around that. We're going to rewrite this as negative 12x plus 2x. And now next step we're going to go through is to rewrite. We're going to rewrite this whole expression, replacing the middle term with the sum of its factors. So this is going to be 3x squared minus 12x plus 2x minus 8. So now let's go ahead and do our grouping. We're going to group them together. So this is factoring by grouping. So now let's go ahead and factor. 3x squared minus 12x, greatest common factor is 3x. And then we have, when you divide each of these terms by 3x, we have x and minus 4. And then the greatest common factor of 2x and negative 8 is 2. So this is plus 2. And then we have x minus 4. So how do we know we've done this right? The value here and the value here are the same. So now let's go ahead and extract our factors. So let's start with the greatest common factor, which is x minus 4. And then we're going to combine the other factors, which is going to be 3x and 2. So this is going to be the factors of this quadratic expression. Now there's another method that some teachers use. I like it because it can be quick. So let me show you that method using this. I'm going to show you that method using this expression. So let me show you the method. it is 3x squared minus 10x minus 8. So the first thing we try to do is, most people find it really easy to solve or to factor quadratic expressions where the coefficient of x squared is 1. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take this 3 over here and multiply it by negative 8. And so we're going to end up with x squared minus 10x minus 24. So now this is in a form that most students love to factor. So when you get to this point, we already have done the work here. So we're going to end up with, open up our parentheses right here, and we have x over here and then x over here. Our factors are negative 12 and 2. So this is negative 12 and positive 2. Now, this is the additional step that we have to do. Remember that we took the 3 here, which is the coefficient of a quadratic term, and we multiplied it by the constant term. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and divide each of the constant terms in the binomials by 3. So let's go ahead and see how this is going to work. So we have x minus 4. All right, and now we have a tricky step we need to account for. So look at this right here. 2 over 3 is a fraction in its simplest form. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take this 3 over here and bring it right here. So this is going to be 3x plus 2. In other words, what you're doing is you're multiplying this expression by the denominator. So you're multiplying x by 3 and 2/3 by 3. So this is what you're going to get, x minus 4 and 3x plus 2. So you can see that you get exactly the same results. Some love this method, some love this method. So use whichever method you find the most or the easiest to use. And so that's all we have for today's lesson. And I hope you enjoyed it. I look forward to having the next one with you soon. Bye for now.